We'll start by mocking up some 200 series SpeedFlow fittings. This is the Teflon cord one, so these are actually done differently to the conventional 100 series, which has got the rubber. So you got your fitting on like that. So make sure the threads are facing to the end you're doing. You've got to peel back some of the braid, so you've got a bit of the Teflon inner core showing. And sometimes if you're on the cut end that's been cut by some pliers or something, I like to jam the fitting in there and kind of make it a circle again. Then you've got your olive, so that then needs to push. This can sometimes be a bit of a prick to do, so be prepared to jab your fingers with the braid. So once you've got it started and pretty square with the end, you can kind of just push it against the vise or whatever works to push it down on the hose, which it's almost right. So basically you'll see the hose up inside this olive, it'll bottom out. So the next step is you get your fitting and it literally pushes in.
Does it, mate?
Yeah, literally. No. Time for the assistance of the vise. And also a bit of oil or some kind of lube wouldn't go astray.
Nope.
My precious.
Alright guys, so these can be a bit of a, I'm not even going to say the word, but yeah, we've finally got it. That is basically how it goes. So you should have your olive underneath the braid with the hose pushed right up into the olive, and then both the olive and the hose should push over the main fitting. Then it's literally a matter of, if there's any kind of dags of braid that are going to get stuck in the threads, now's the time to cut them off. So yeah, now it's just a matter of basically pushing this fitting up and then so our overly small spanner.
You reckon you have enough leverage on that?
I don't know, man. It fucking
just
need to get them pretty tight, you know. Not actually.
So you don't need to get them that tight?
Well, they'll basically bottom out. So normally you want to try and line up the flats, and that's one fitting done. Alright, so I'll just show you guys quickly how to install the reducer, or the restrictor I should say, and also how to change the size of it. So currently it's a 1mm, we're going to bore it out to 2mm. As I said before, this is made for a ball bearing turbo. So basically this sits in, so there's a slightly flared section, hopefully it picks it up, but anyway you'll see it if you've got one anyway. There's a flare section that literally drops in the fitting, and you just jiggle it around till it
seats in there.
Yeah, not working. Get this EGT probe. So there you go, that's in there like that. So then you just literally screw your fitting in as it would be in the car, get it pretty tight, and then you drill it while it's all tight in there so you don't kind of burr up any of the edges in the vise and then it won't seal. Alright, so we've got our 2mm bit in the drill. It's just a matter of
not fucking it.
Yeah, like so. So secret is just to make sure the fitting is tight together as it would be on the car, so the little restrictor can't float around. That's it. Not coming out now.
It's one with the fitting, mate.
Yeah. Alright, so setting up your 100 series SpeedFlow hose ends. Obviously you need your line. We've got -6, this is for our coolant to and from the turbo. So these are slightly different to the 200 series, which you probably saw just before. So basically, first step, if you're working with the factory cut end, I always like to get something inside and kind of round it back out to make it a little bit easier to get the fitting in. Well, yeah, I'll just put a fucking penetration there. Or you can use the fitting like that and do whatever. Alright, so once that's done, I like to put the fitting in the vise, and you've just got to basically push the hose inside, making sure that all your strands of braid are also going in. And like always, these are either really easy or slightly hard.
Or impossible.
Alright, so that pushes in like so. Just up before the threads basically. So then you then put this in the vise like so. Get it reasonably tight, but not too tight to distort the fitting. And then that basically just pushes inside the hose and tightens down. So when I'm at home, I usually use like some motor oil or some Vaseline or something to lube it up, but anything will do really. So it's just a matter of inserting this part inside the hose, and then it tightens down. And also I'll add with these fittings, these are called a cutter fitting. So this section here actually cuts into the hose. So if you ever pull one apart and you see like a cut slot in the hose, don't be alarmed, it's meant to do that. But if you're putting one back together, you're meant to actually cut that off and start again. I've reused them in the past, but it's not recommended obviously, so I wouldn't rely on it.
Dodgy cunt.
But anyway, let's put this together.
Easier than the last one?
Don't jinx us.
Could have just fucked it.
No, but these are a lot easier than the 200 series, I find.
Yeah. It only took us 35 minutes less.
So another important thing to note, when you're tightening this in, it doesn't really happen with the proper SpeedFlow fittings, but some of them, it can actually start pushing the line back out. So a lot of guys, they'll like put a bit of tape after they've pushed the line inside the fitting, or just kind of put a mark with a texture or something to make sure the hose doesn't fall out, or the fitting doesn't push the hose out as you're tightening it. But yeah, this one feels alright anyway. But I always like to push up on the hose, and if it's starting to move, you kind of get a feel for it in your hand. So, and then when it gets close, just twist it round so you line the flats up on both parts of the fitting. As you can see there, those two flats. And that's one fitting complete. Alright, so once you got one fitting done, obviously you got to do another one. So what I do is I take it into the car, kind of mock up where the other fitting is, where the hose is going to sit, like in relation to how far into the fitting. And I wrap some electrical tape usually around it, and that's going to be the center of my cut. So I can now chuck this in the vise and I like to use a hacksaw. Some guys use a grinder. I've tried both. I think the hacksaw's got more control. And if you've got the right blade in it, it's normally pretty trouble free. Spectacular. Alright, so now that one's ready to use for the next fitting. And then we can do the same thing again and put a fitting on the end of this.